Oh, good morning, everybody. And I'm having a little bit of a giggle to myself. It must be one of those freaking days, where things just don't quite go to plan. So let's have a little bit of a talk about that. The fact that I just put on my end music to welcome you all to the show before I put on my welcome music. It's just, I don't know, it's one of them days. So I want to say welcome to all of you guys. Today I want to do this a little bit differently. I want to have a little bit of a conversation with everybody. The normal sort of style of the show is that I give you guys lots of tips, tools, resources, etc. But today I want to talk about this. And let me find it, because it's just one of them things, loads of stuff going on. You just got to find your rhythm, which I will do in a second. And let me find my little blurb that I'm going to put on here, which has also just disappeared. So for those of you that are watching that, normally like Trace, you've normally got all of this stuff organized and it's all together. Oh, look, and there it is. Let me just put it on. Can't even see for looking. So welcome to the show, guys. Today, like I said, I want to talk about something a little bit different today, which is what the heck do you talk about when you feel like you've got nothing to talk about? Do you guys ever feel like that? So today's a bit different because I want conversation. So I want you guys to, if you're on Facebook, you'll be seeing that beneath you, you've got an opportunity to be able to comment, and the comments will actually come through to me. If you're watching right now on YouTube, you can do exactly the same thing. Or if you're listening to the podcast, then, make comments on the podcast, and I'll make sure to get back to you guys. So this morning, I kind of run my show every single week on a Wednesday and a Friday religiously without fail. It is 10 a.m. Brisbane time, and I show up and I have a show to run. And I know that a lot of you guys also realize and understand that part of the process of being able to get yourself out there and become visible is part of the whole process of becoming visible, connecting your message to your, connecting your offer to your message, so on and so forth. But sometimes, flaming heck, there are just days where things just don't go well, where you kind of wake up in the morning and it's kind of like you're running on, trying to run on adrenaline and running on clockwork. And then you get to the point where showtime, and it's like, what the heck am I going to talk about today? And that was kind of one of those days for me. So I wanted to walk through exactly what I do to come up with the topic of today. Well, of course, it's called What the Heck Do You Talk About Online When You Feel Like You've Got Nothing to Talk About? Because that's how I felt this morning. So I want to know from you guys, especially those of you who have already twigged on to the way to, kind of connecting your offer to your message is to get yourself visible. For those of you that are either, doing blogging or podcasting or doing live shows or doing Facebook lives, like how is it that do you ever find yourself in a situation where you think, God, today I got nothing. I need, what the heck am I going to talk about? And you're struggling to try and come up with a concept or an idea. So I wanted to talk you through the process that I went through. And because that was me this morning, as I was looking at, what am I going to talk about? I thought, well, there's a couple of ways that I can go with this. One is I can kind of look at current events, current things that are going on in the world. And I sort of felt a little bit this way this morning because of, a lot of stuff that's going on in the background of my life, various conversations that I've had with people, and loads of people are actually saying, God, there's lots of stuff going on. There's like a death all around me. There's illnesses, there's challenges everywhere. And like I said, today I had a number of those conversations before I even jumped on the show today. And often those things, when you're having those kind of conversations, they can kind of take you on a different pathway. Your energy is not quite as up as it normally would be. You're feeling a little bit flat and you're thinking, God, I've just got to show up and what the heck am I going to talk about? So I want to know if you guys ever feel that way, that you've got something you've got to show up for and you're just lost for words sometimes. I want to know if that does happen to you. And I'm going to take you through the process that I went through this morning. So of course, that all happened this morning. 15 minutes out before the show, I'm like, okay, I could talk about this concept, I could talk about that concept, because I've got loads of things that I've got in my toolbox that I could be speaking about. But it was like I was stumped. And so I thought, what the heck, I bet you I'm not the only person that ever feels that way. Like yes, it's kind of empty. I don't know what else I'm going to talk about. So there became the light bulb moment of, that's what I'm going to talk about on the show today, because I know if I'm feeling that way, I know that many of you out there will be having those moments. And you don't want to let that moment derail you from showing up and actually delivering and speaking to your audience. That's the one thing you do not want to have done, because it's very easy to have that happen. You get up in the morning, stuff, I'm going to say shit happens. You think, gosh, what am I going to talk about? I'm kind of derailed. I've got nothing. So therefore, I'll just put it to the side, and I just won't do it today. Today, I'm not feeling like it. I don't feel like I should show up and actually be able to deliver anything to my audience. When in fact, you want to do the absolute opposite of that. You want to make sure that you absolutely do show up and you do speak about whatever is going on with you in that moment. And like today, it was like, felt like I had nothing to talk about. So what shall I do? Get on here and talk about the fact that I've got nothing to talk about. And that creates a show topic. The other thing that I actually did, and as much as it sounds like that kind of came from a topic that just came out of my head in that moment, but it actually wasn't. So lucky for me, I have a process that actually saves my bacon every single time. So when I feel like, what should I talk about? Because often we plan things, right? And you might have in your head, you've got to do this great Facebook Live tomorrow, or I'm going to do a show tomorrow. And we have a concept in our mind the night before. And then you wake up in the morning, it's like, not feeling that today. That's not the topic I'm going to talk about. So if ever I find myself in that situation, like I did today, because here we go, life happens, as Robin Helm is just saying now, life happens, and it's how we respond to it that makes all the difference. Absolutely. So with that being said, this morning, what did I do? Well, one of the things that I did ages ago, before when I started kind of planning out my show, trying to work out what was Unlocked going to be about, I crafted out exactly what it planned. What would I talk about? And I got myself together what I call an ideas bank. And how did I create this ideas bank? So I got my high level concept of what Unlocked was all about. And you can do exactly the same process. Figure out what is the theme, what are the things that you are going to be speaking about, what are you passionate about? And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm passionate about people living their life unlocked. So with that being my initial concept, then the people that I want to speak to are those people who also want to live an unlocked life, meaning that they want to experience things, that they want to be able to design their life in a way that they want to live it and not be kind of stifled by other people's expectations, creating them, a box that they have to live in. So I'm very much about that. And so when I started thinking about the concept of the show and thinking about, the fact that I am a big believer that you can't compartmentalize your life. You can't have, a nice little box over here that just has business in it, a nice little box over here that just has family in it. And well, then the rest of my life might sit over here. I'm a firm believer that you actually need, the best way to live your life is to combine all of those things together. So with that concept in mind, having Unlocked, and then having the concept of me believing that business, family, and life kind of are all one, and that's how you bring that authenticity to the table, is by bringing, harnessing and embracing all that you are in every aspect of your life and making that your message. So Unlocked, then knowing it's business, family, and life, I then started to think about, well, what are some of the topics that I could talk about that sit under the banners or the topics of business, family, and life. And over time, what happened with the Unlock show is I realized that what I was actually doing was actually providing a platform for people to find their message inside of them and actually turn that message into a profitable business, because I've been doing that for quite some time. I've been helping people build their online businesses, making them profitable. And then also with what I was doing was sharing my message that actually connected to my online business that enables me to make a living from that. So I knew that somehow I had to connect all of these things together. Then what I did is I started creating this ideas library. So as much as I sort of started the show with, man, I didn't know what I was going to talk about today, which is actually true. I was stumped. And that's the reason, like if you're watching me for a while, you normally know that I'm prepared. You get a message out, 30 minutes before, inside of this business, this Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group. I usually put that in there to give everybody warning. But this morning it was I didn't put that out for 10 minutes before, because I was like, what is the topic of today? And so what I did is I knew that were the case, but I went to my ideas bank. And this was an ideas bank that I created when I was in the flow of creativity. I could think really clearly about what are some of the topics that I want to talk about. And at that time, I created a list of about 250 different topics that I could speak on. And that way, if ever I woke up in the morning and found myself in a situation that was like, oh crap, what the heck am I going to talk about today? I've got nothing. I could simply open up my ideas bank and start talking about one of the topics and the concepts that I actually had on that list. And funnily enough, this happened to be one of them. And I knew that if I was feeling that way in that moment, because I was feeling like that, I had to talk about that particular topic. So when I talk about saving your bacon, that's the way in which you can ensure that you are well prepared so that no matter what goes on, no matter what happens behind the scenes in your life, no matter what's going on elsewhere, you can actually front up and you can continue to deliver your content in a way that is authentic and that is, really about what's happening in that moment, so that you never, ever, ever find yourself in a situation where you think, I've got nothing to talk about, so therefore I won't speak. That is the last thing we want you to have, to have happen. This entire process, there's a process. Like I said, you start with your high level concept and idea. You're breaking that down to 3 to 5 different, what we call pillars underneath those. And then you're pulling out various different topics that sit within those so that you can continually go back to your ideas bank and you've always got something to talk about and you never, ever run out. If you, if you would like a copy of that, or you would like to know how to do more of that, and you want some help on crafting your show, understanding what it is that you need to talk about, understanding how to craft out your audience in terms of like who would my micro and my macro audiences be, and then how to connect your messaging that you're talking about with a profitable business, then you guys, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I've got a program. Vicky Helm and I run a program. It's called Influence and Authority Method. We will be opening the doors to that again very, very soon. And we've got some really exciting stuff that we're going to be sharing inside of that program that we are going to keep you guys up to date and make sure that you've got your eyes peeled for when that new program is launched. It will be Influence and Authority Method 2.0, which has got a whole lot of new stuff that we'll be bringing out in it, which we are super excited about. So I want to make sure that you guys get kept in the loop with that, so that you too are able to start sharing your message in a very authentic way that connects to your offer and that enables you to make a healthy living and live your best life with it. So today is going to be a really short session, but that's what I wanted to talk about. No point in kind of carrying, talking for the sake of talking. I've said what I've got to say. I had nothing to talk about at the beginning, but there you go. You got kind of 15 minutes of like, boom, that's how Tracy does it. That's exactly the process that I take. And that's the same process that we take all of our members through. And none of them ever get stumped for anything to say now. So I want to say thank you very much for watching The Unlock Show. I'll be back again on Wednesday. I've got a really exciting guest with me on Wednesday. I'm going to be sharing with you how you can use EFT tapping to be able to move through any kind of resistance that you have in your life, how to combine that with and integrate it into your daily lifestyle so that you can be able to move forward in life with no resistance. So if that's something that you want to do, join me next week for another episode of Unlocked. I'm Tracy Wilson and I'm going to head out of here because I'm off to go camping with my family. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend and I'll see you guys again here next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.